सर नमस्कार।
गुड इवनिंग।
गुड इवनिंग सर।
हेलो।
हेलो सर।
लेट्स लेट यस प्लीज स्पीक।
सर
प्लीज स्पीक। आर यू समथिंग टू स्पीक? କିଛି କହିବା ଲାଗି ଚାହୁଁଛନ୍ତି ବୋଲେ କୁହନ୍ତୁ। हेलो। Let other join so that we can start. Rajiv, you were present in the next previous class. Hello, Rajiv. You were present in the last class.
नहीं सर, नहीं प्रेजेंट नहीं थे सर।
अच्छा. Let others join. Other class will be continuing, so that I am waiting for 2 to 3 minutes. Mahar. Hello, good evening, Mahar. Hello. I am waiting for the others to join. Please wait. Perhaps the other class is continuing. Hello, good evening to all of you.
Good morning.
Namaskar, sir. Good evening,
Good
sir.
evening, sir.
Uh, Hope you all to be the fine in fine health and fine condition.
Thank you, sir. And you also. Hope.
Thank you very much. Let's start with in a very hurry manner. I am just going through the concepts so that while reading the material, we will find little bit easier to adjust yourself with the language and the matter also. And today we will start with block 5. In block 5, one unit 15th is there, that is called conquest and appropriation. Then unit 16, migrations and settlements. Unit 17, imperialism. Unit 18, colonialism. All these things are there in block 5. Let's start. Are you enjoying all these things, or in a different mode you will switch it off? Hello?
No, sir, no, sir.
No,
I
sir. We are enjoying. We are enjoying a
No,
lot.
sir, no, sir,
Yes.
no, sir.
No,
Sir, good evening, sir.
No, sir.
uh, yes, thank you very much. I am just starting with conquest and appropriation. As the paper suggests, the paper is known as modern world. What development took place just after the Renaissance? We have already discussed one by one, but by bits and pieces. କିଛି କିଛି ଆମେ ଆଲୋଚନା କରିଛୁ. ଆଉ ସେ ଭିତରେ expected question you will be knowing while going through the previous year questions. So let's start with conquest. The European world, it is called European world, or particularly the Western European countries. After the emergence of Renaissance, after a lot of developments, as we discussed earlier, with starting from the geographical discoveries to your capitalism, they became, in one way, we can say that they became developed in comparison to other parts of the world. So they started keeping eyes on other countries. And in what way? First of all, as capitalism has already developed, and the other parameters
Good evening, sir.
like hello, uh, good evening, hello,
Sir,
are
ଆପଣ
you
କୋଉଠା
some?
sir, sir,
Yes.
sir, ଆପଣ କୋଉ ୟୁନିଟ୍ ପଢଉଛନ୍ତି?
ଏଟା
ଜାଣି ହେଲାନି।
ହଉଛି ବ୍ଲକ 5
Unit 15.
H
Unit
Unit
15.
15.
unit 15.
Okay, sir.
Please cooperate with me because we are having just one class, and these are so to say very, so to say, difficult concepts. So I am analyzing as far as possible in a very simple and simplified way, so that you will be, it will be helpful for you to understand the material in fully or partially, that is up to you. So conquest and appropriation, as the Western European countries, they became developed in different ways of life, starting from the geographical discoveries, scientific developments, and all these, they started after 15th century AD. They started casting their eyes on, especially on trade and commerce. And the most revolutionary thing in the 16th, in the last part of the 15th century and in the beginning of the 16th century was the discovery of the sea route to America, North America especially, and the discovery of the sea route to India. These two things completely revolutionized all the aspects in the so-called modern world or in European world or you can say Western world. And they first started casting their eyes in Africa, America and finally on Asian continent. And first they started coming as traders and in different parts of the world their objective was to start as they were entrepreneurs. We have already discussed uh, the concept called your entrepreneur. The Europeans were entrepreneur in nature. As they were entrepreneur in nature, they started casting eyes in different parts of the world. And this discovery of the sea route to India and America completely changed or completely revolutionized the history of the world also. And after coming to America, North America, you can say, then to America, they gradually, um, uh, they gradually being aware of the political condition of uh, your American continent, especially North America and India. They thought of acquiring these areas as colonies and conquest. Conquest means to occupy. Their objective was solely rested on trade and commerce, but as the situation favored them, they started occupying it in a political way also. Like first America, they colonized America, then they started keeping their eye on India, and finally when India was being conquered, for example, India was being conquered, that is the conquest of your Britain in India. ଆମେ ସବୁବେଳେ ପଢୁ British conquest of India. For example, I am speaking as the Britishers occupied India in bits and pieces, and by 1800, by the beginning of the 19th century, they have already occupied most of the portions of India. That refers to the occupation of India by the Britishers, but their objective earlier was not your ruling over India, but as opportunity favored them, they occupied India and appropriated means they occupied India having a political goal misunderstandingly, but their economic goal was most important. And appropriation means to digest the resources of that area. Means after becoming colony, after India became colony, that was being appropriated by Britain, means the colonial master. Are you following me? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Are you?
Yes, sir.
ୱେଷ୍ଟର୍ଣ୍ଣ ୟୁରୋପରେ ଏସବୁ ଆସିକି
ଆଚ୍ଛା
ୱେଷ୍ଟର୍ଣ୍ଣ ୟୁରୋପରେ
ମୁଁ
ବ୍ରିଟେନ
Sir.
ଆଚ୍ଛା ମୁଁ କହିଦଉଛି ଓଡିଆରେ କହିଦଉଛି ଗୋଟେ ଜିନିଷ ହେଲା ଯେ Western European countries, mostly Western European countries କିମ୍ବା Western world କୁହାଯାଉ ସେଟାକୁ European world କୁହାଯାଉ, ସେମାନେ ଯେତେବେଳେ ଜଳପଥରେ ଆବିଷ୍କାର ହେଲା ଆମେରିକା ଆଉ ଇଣ୍ଡିଆ, ସେମାନଙ୍କର ଆଖିଟା ସବୁବେଳେ କୋଉଠି ରହିଲା ଯେ ତାଙ୍କର ଜାଗାଟା ତାଙ୍କର ଲାଗି ସେମାନେ ଭାବିଲେ as they were very small country in terms of geographical area and other resources also, they started casting their eyes on other parts of the world, and the two parts were America. You must be knowing about American War of Independence, and India, Asian continent ରେ India ତାଙ୍କ target ରେ ରହିଲା। ତ ଯୋଉ ହିସାବରେ ସେମାନେ ଆସିଲେ ଅକୁପାଏ କଲେ ଆଉ କନକ୍ୱେଷ୍ଟ ଟା ଡିଫରେଣ୍ଟ ୱେ ରେ ବି ହୁଏ। ଆମେ ଯେମିତି ଏବେ କୋରୋନା ଦେଖୁଛୁ ଯେ earlier when the first wave started people speaking that China exported this corona to different parts of the world ସେଇ ପ୍ରକାରେ ଏମାନେ ବିଭିନ୍ନ ଯୋଉ ଜାଗା ଗୁଡାକ ଯେଉଁ ଅଞ୍ଚଳ ଗୁଡାକ ଅଧିକାର କଲେ ସେହି ଅଧିକାର କରିବା ଲାଗି they adopted different means fair or fouls. You will be surprised to know that influenza, malaria, all these your critical diseases of that time were being exported by the Europeans to different parts of the world. As the people of that area were having no immunity against that, they died in large number and they failed to defeat the Europeans in their land. So in different way conquest started, and another mode of your conquest is fighting war with the indigenous people. So different methods are being followed by them to occupy different parts of the world, like particularly your America and India. And whatever after occupying these places, they started exploiting it in a different way, exploiting its starting from its resources to revenue. So that exploitation, ଆମେ ଯୋଉଟା exploitation ବୋଲିକିରି କହୁଛୁ, that is here referred as appropriation ତାମାନେ ଖାଇବା ଲାଗି ଅଛି ଆମେ ଗୋଟେ ମିଶିକିରି ଗୋଟେ ଭୋଜି କରୁଛୁ ଆମେ ଯଦି ଖାଇବା ଲାଗି କରିଛୁ ସେଇ ଭିତରୁ ଜଣେ ବ୍ୟକ୍ତି ଆସିବ ଯିଏ କି 15 ଜଣ ଯଦି ଭୋଜି କରୁଛନ୍ତି ସେଇ ଜଣେ ଆସିବ ଆଉ ସେ ଏ ପ୍ରକାର ଉପାୟ ଅବଲମ୍ବନ କରିବ ଯେ ସମସ୍ତଙ୍କ ଖାଦ୍ୟଟା ସେ ନିଜେ ଖାଇଯିବ that is in a very simple way conquest and appropriations इमाने ये जो western countries किंबा western European countries जो आड़े गले एमाने तांको लक्ष्य अलगा थिला किंतु political opportunity सेमान को एजेंस प्रोवाइड करवा द्वारा कारण political condition बहुत fragile थिला the political condition was very chaotic in nature and that provided an opportunity to occupy them our occupation hela pore as they were very clever in nature Indian American sangare ame jodi comparison kariwa we are nearly 200 years lagging behind them semanko chu ame 200 ବର୍ଷ ଅତି କମ ରେ 200 ବର୍ଷ ପଛରେ ଅଛୁ କାରଣ when Renaissance started ତାଙ୍କର ସେଇଠି ରେନାସାଁ ଯେତେବେଳେ ଆରମ୍ଭ ହେଲା ଚିନ୍ତାଧାରାରେ ପରିବର୍ତ୍ତନ ହେଲା ଆମର ଏଇଠି ଯେତେବେଳେ ରେନାସାଁ ହେଲା ବହୁତ ପଛରେ ହେଲା ଆମେ ଯୋଉଟା କହୁଛୁ 18th century so there is nearly a gap of you can say just roughly ଆମେ ଯଦି ହିସାବ କରିବା ସେଇଠି ଆରମ୍ଭ ହେଇଗଲା 15th 16th century ର ଆମର ଏଇଠି ହେଲା 18th century ରେ so ଧରାଯାଉ ଯେ ଆମେ 200 ବର୍ଷ ପଛରେ ରହିଲୁ जो 200 वर्ष पछरे रहिलो हमर बुद्धिटा सेही प्रकार रहिला एंड द वर्ल्ड रो सबुथु क्लेवर पर्सन्स गुडा को वेस्टर्नर्स बोली करी कहा जाए कारण these people they applied their tricks in this underdeveloped बोली कि त हम कहि परिबानी किंतु गोटे प्रकार रे सेमाने तांकर क्लेवर क्वालिटीज लागी they became successful आउ जोटा कि conquest appropriation रे आमे फर्स्ट यूनिट 15 रे देखिला तापरे अछि माइग्रेशंस एंड सेटलमेंट्स अच्छा फॉर एग्जांपल हमर माइग्रेशन कहीं की देखा जाए इन इंडिया आल्सो देयर इज माइग्रेशन अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट गोटे कथा ला अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट आओ
बले लोकल एरिया रे कामर अभाव
और लोकल एरिया रे काम अभाव फास्ट तापरे आओ को जिंस थिवो for different regions there are migrations
illiterate sir illiterate
हाँ आओ जने better facility पाइबा लागि भी migrate करे जो माने villages रो अछंती से मान को जदी पैसा पत्र अछि से माने छुआ पिला किंबा कौन से हेल्थ फैसिलिटी को अर्बन एरिया को माइग्रेट करते किंतु आमे जदि 15-16 सेंचुरी आरंभ करी 19-20 सेंचुरी को आसीवा माइग्रेशंस आर ऑफ डिफरेंट काइंड्स माइग्रेशन माने गोटे हला पोस्ट माइग्रेशन गोटे अछि पोस्ट माइग्रेशन मींस you will be very surprised to know that अमेरिका रे जो माने रहउतले जो यूरोपियंस रहउतले सेमान को they were forced to leave the European countries सेमान को चोरो ठगो बदमाश बोली करी बाहर करी दिया आइतला गोटे शिप रे सेमान को छाड़ी दिया होतला सेमाने जाय करी अमेरिका रे पहुंचुतले and they were the white settlers of your American continent at that time. So post migration was also there. Then migration due to other purpose. देखा जाओ, for example, the Britishers occupied India. सेमाने migrate कले, but they were never the permanent settlers of India. They became or they were never the permanent settlers of India. Rather, they came with a purpose. And when their rule was over, they left India. And migrations are of different reasons like political, then forced, then also economic migration is also there. Suppose one community is feeling insecure in his own country, or if that will be a minority community, they are migrating to different parts of the world. You might be knowing that the birth of Israel, they had no original homeland. They were migrating from one place to another place, but after 1945, they decided to remain in one place, and the birth of Israel was due to the migration of one community to different parts of the world, and they realized that living in one place of their community will be the solution, and settlements also developed in that way. Are you following me? Hello?
Yes sir, yes sir.
Yes sir.
बुझिबार असुविधा होनी तो
Yes sir.
मो जो जगह रे बेसी दरकार जो जगह रे क्लैरिफिकेशन का बेसी दरकार and that is coming regularly in your examination. I am touching that part very seriously. So let's come to imperialism and colonialism. Have you ever heard the term called imperialism?
Sir,
Do you have any idea? कहा को imperialism बोली करी कुआ हुए?
बहिरे जो डेफिनेशन देखिए सर से
कहा को हमें जनरली मु I will quote your book also बुझवा लगे सुविधा हबो एथरे हेलो एथरे दीटा जिंस तीनटा जिंस दिया हेची फर्स्ट मो बहिटा पढ़ी दउची डेफिनेशन जोतरे के सुविधा हबो imperialism refers to the process of capitalist development which leads the capitalist countries to conquer and dominate the pre-capitalist countries of the world. By far, this is the most precise and the best definition. सेत्रे से कहूची imperialism रो माने होची capitalist development process refers to the process of capitalist development. Capitalist development ता कोठो आरंभ होला European countries रो आरंभ होला. Certainly these are all European people or European countries, Western European countries, which leads the capitalist countries to conquer and dominate pre-capitalist countries of the world. मु जोटा एता आगरो कहली conquest और appropriation रे जो माने चालाक थिले जो माने पुंजीवाद एरिया रो किंबा जो माने जो कंट्री रे लोक पुंजीपति थिले से माने they started dominating the pre-capitalist countries of the world. ता माने जो कंट्री गुडा को politically weak, economically एते डेवलप नुहंती सही कंट्री गुडा को
Underdeveloped.
जो ऑक्युपेशन हैला सेटा को हमें कहलु इंपेरियलिज्म बोली करी. आर यू स्पीकिंग समथिंग दीपक? अच्छा बुझी हला? हेलो,
जी
followed
सर,
my
जी सर.
point?
yes
Huh?
sir, yes sir, yes sir.
Again
जी
आउ
सर.
थरे कह
Yes,
दोची
sir.
imperialism
Yes, sir.
imperialism माने गोटे प्रोसेस जोटा के कैपिटलिस्ट डेवलपमेंट संगरे लिंक अछि आउ जोटा कैपिटलिस्ट माने आसिकरी अण कैपिटलिस्ट राज्य को निज अख्तियार रे आनिले. That is the by far most suitable definition of imperialism. बुझिएला बे?
Sir,
Yes
हेलो,
sir.
Yes, sir.
नेक्स्ट होची आम imperialism और empire. What is the difference between the two? Again, I am coming to empire in the era of capitalism is imperialism. Empire in the era of capitalism. Empire in the area of capitalism is imperialism. एम्पायर माने आमे कोटा ब्रिटिश एम्पायर फॉर एग्जांपल आमे ब्रिटिश एम्पायर बोली कहूचु. ब्रिटिश एम्पायर बोली कि काहे के कहूचु जे इंडिया became a colony by the Britishers and empire in the era of capitalism. ସେହି ସମୟରେ କୋଉଟା ଚାଲିଥିଲା କ୍ୟାପିଟାଲିଜମ ପୁଞ୍ଜିବାଦ କିମ୍ବା ପୁଞ୍ଜିପତି ମାନଙ୍କର ସମୟ ଥିଲା and as the Britishers occupied India and through different way. Hello, वीडियो टा बंद कर दियंतु. As India was being conquered by Britain and they started building an empire, it is called British Empire. And as the Britishers or Britain was a capitalist country, so when a capitalist country occupied a pre-capitalist country and in that area when it starts an empire, it is called British Empire. So empire in the era of capitalism, empire in the era of capitalism is imperialism.
तो सर से एम्पायर टाइम जेतले कैपिटलिज्म रो स्टार्टिंग हला से टाइम को हमें एम्पायरिज्म
हाँ,
करिबा.
आमे सेटा को कहूचु तार मो रिलेशन टा कहली empire in the era of capitalism is imperialism. Empire in the era means समय गोटे पीरियड को बुझा जाए. कैपिटलिज्म इज imperialism. आउ आमे जते बेले कहूचु ब्रिटिश एम्पायर बोली करी and as Britain was a capitalist country, as it occupied India with economic purpose, with a capitalist purpose, that's why it is called your British Empire in the under the jurisdiction of your imperialism. So empire and imperialism are related to each other. So imperialism means the objective of the imperialism can be noticed in mercantilism. हमें जोटा mercantilism आगरे देखुतलु where the state controls the trade and commerce or where there is the interference of the state in the trade and commerce. हमें सेटा जानितलु mercantilism and your imperialism is a part and parcel of mercantilism. For example, who was East India Company? East India Company was a commercial company. It had nothing to do with the political condition of India. They were never interested to occupy India politically, but the situation of India was so favorable for them that they occupied India in an absent-mindedness बोली करी कुआ हुए. So basically तांकर objective टा थिला जे in what way the objective of an capitalist is in what way to exploit the resources of the colonial country. That is a part and parcel of your imperialism, and an imperialism there is your the first and foremost thing is the importance of your trade and commerce. Not only your Britain, other countries like your France, Portugal, your Spain, all these countries, they started keeping their eyes on trade and commerce in
Sir,
different
sound
parts of the world.
background sound is ବୁଝାଉନି background sound କ'ଣ ରହୁଛି
Hello,
background sound ପାଇଁ ସାର୍ ବୁଝାଗଲାନି
background sound ଆସୁଛି.
ସାର୍
Hello,
ସାର୍
now it is clear. Hello.
yes sir ଟିକେ noise create ହଉଥିଲା ସାର୍ ଏବେ ହେଲା ଠିକ ହେଲା
Oh, acha acha. Then next is your first है mercantilism, next है industrial capitalism. As we have discussed earlier, that during the period of industrial revolution, there was the immense potential. There was the immense potential of the capitalist in industries, and during industrial capitalism, or we can say that it's a part of your imperialism, industrial capitalism. So these are the features. ଆମେ ଯୋଉଟା କି feature ବୋଲିକିରି କହୁଛୁ, କୋ feature को କହୁଛୁ, जो feature ଟା imperialism ର part and parcel बोलिकिरि आमे कहूछु. And in imperialism also there is a little bit contribution from the side of your military. आमे जोटा कि modern terms रे कहूछु, ଯେତେବେଳେ European countries ମାନଙ୍କ ଭିତରେ competition ହେଲା, and when they started establishing colonies in different parts of the world, they paid attention to military. आमे जो military द्वारा, and by that military they occupied different parts of the world, not only India but in other countries also. So it played a pivotal role, military. Then another is finance capitalism. Finance capitalism means in India, you might be knowing, ame bartaman jota what we are observing now, the biggest infrastructure called railways. जदि आमे जदि पॉजिटिवली कहबा, जदि ब्रिटिशर्स माने इंडिया आसी न थांते, जदि ब्रिटिशर्स माने रेलवे लाइन स्टार्ट करि न थांते, हुए तो आज पर्यंत मोस्ट ऑफ द पार्ट्स ऑफ इंडिया विल बी डिस्कनेक्टेड थ्रू रेलवे लाइन. कारण आमर इंडिया रे जते रेलवे ट्रैक अछि, 60 to 70% construction already they completed before 1947. So ये जो रेलवे हला, किंबा कौन सी टी प्लांटेशन हला, कॉफी प्लांटेशन हला, इंडिगो प्लांटेशन हला, किंबा आउ कौन सी जिंस हला, in all these your capitalists invested their capital. That is ସେମାନେ କାହାକୁ फाइनेंस कले, ब्रिटिश गवर्नमेंट को फाइनेंस कले. ब्रिटिश गवर्नमेंट जोटा इंडिया रे थिला ताको फाइनेंस कले, एंड जेतेबेले फाइनेंस कले आ एथरो जो प्रॉफिट ता गला तांको से प्रॉफिट ता डायरेक्टली सेमानकर पाको ओ हिसाब रे गला इंटरेस्ट हिसाब रे. कैपिटलिस्ट जेते पैसा खर्च कले तार पैसा रो जेते अधिकता माने इंटरेस्ट दिया जिबा कथा तांको दिया गला. So that is financial capitalism. In an imperialism, financial capitalism played a bigger role. ता बारे आगुटे कथा कुआ हुए जे the sun never sets in British Empire. The sun never sets in British Empire. कारण British Empire एते बड़ थिला जे गोटे आडे जदि दिन होउची ता आ गोटे कॉलोनी रे राति भी होउतला. And Britain is also known as a nation of shopkeepers. A nation of shopkeepers. Shopkeepers बोलिकरी कुआ हुए. व्यवसाय से सबुतर रहउची तामाने प्राण केंद्र आम जो यदि कह ड्यूरिंग दैट टाइम योर ब्रिटेन वाज द सेंटर ऑफ all trading activities. So in such a way they controlled the colonies and exploited them in such a way that sun never sets in British Empire. And out a kotha hala, the time when they entered into the colonies और ସେମାନେ जो भारत को उपनिवेश कले किंबा अलगा राष्ट्र को जो उपनिवेश कले अलगा कंट्री को ता द्वारा से जो colonial country थिला माने for example India during the time when the British rule started it was one of the most vibrant economy of the world সেই সময়ে আমার অর্থনীতিটা বহুত ভালো ଥିଲା ବୋଲି କୁହାଯାଏ କିନ୍ତୁ the time when the Britishers left India was one of the poorest country in the world and on the other hand the money of India the wealth of India was drained to England जो समय भारत को आसिला it was not a big player in the world but when India's wealth entered Britain, it became one of the great power in the modern world. That is the difference. And because of the trading activities, it is said that sun never sets in British Empire. And another concept which is usually asked in your questions, in your examination, as short question that is colonialism.
sir
Colonialism.
गुटे
Colonialism means
हेलो हेलो
hello
हाँ सर गुटे हेडिंग अछि इंपेरियलिज्म ऑफ फ्री ट्रेड ता माने कोन सर
imperialism of free trade. अच्छा
सर
आदम स्मिथ formulated free trade. Free trade माने जिनस आम पाखु आसीबो आमे बाहर आम कंट्री रो जिनस बाहर को पठेबा that is called free trade किंतु but these countries एमाने कोन allow करनथिले अच्छा for take the example of India also ଯେତେବେଳେ East India Company तार बिजनेस ता आरंभ कला when it started its business from the soil of India ro they were purchasing goods from India and selling those goods in England at a very high rate किंतु ଯେତେବେଳେ ସେଠି industrial revolution आरंभ ହେଲା इंडिया रो जो जिनस पत्र जाउथला ताको बंद करा गला ब्रिटेन रे एंड लेजिस्लेशन गोटे न्यू एक्ट पास करा गला सेठी एंड अकॉर्डिंग टू दैट एक्ट if a British person will be noticed with a handkerchief also तामाने गोटे इंडियन handkerchief तामाने रुमाल गोटे ता हाथ रे पाइबे then he or she will be fined 50 times then the price what he purchased. So that means the goods from India to England were discouraged. किंतु तांकर जिनस जो एठी आसिकरी हमर मार्केट फ्लड कर देला जो बन्या सृष्टि कर देला ता द्वारा हमर लोक जो अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट हेले nobody talked about that. That is imperialism during the period of imperialism free trade system was one sided and whatever rules and regulations were being made it catered to the interest of the colonial master or for example Britain. Suppose whatever the British government formulated policies in India that were meant for the welfare of Britain not for the welfare of India. So Firoz, what you asked did you get the answer?
yes sir I understood sir
Yeah. Next, we should proceed to colonialism. Again, anybody will answer what do you mean by colony? Colony कहले कौन बुझो? What do you mean it?
उपनिवेशवाद ଉପନିବେଶ
ସେଇଟା ତ ଆମେ ପ୍ରାକ୍ଟିକାଲ ୱେ ରେ କହିବା। ଆମେ ସବୁ ଅର୍ବାନ ଏରିଆ କୁ ଗଲେ କଲୋନୀ ଗୋଟେ ଅଛି, ସବୁ ଜାଗାରେ ଗୋଟେ କଲୋନୀ ବୋଲିକିରି ଥିବ କୌଣସି ଜାଗାରେ ହେଲା।
Yes, yes.
इंडस्ट्रियल कैपिटलिज्म।
ଅ, ନା ନା ଠିକ ଆମେ ସେଇଠିକୁ ଯାଉନୁ, ପହିଲା କଥା ଫାଷ୍ଟ କଥା ହେଲା ଯେ ଆମେ ଯଦି ସବୁ ଡିଷ୍ଟ୍ରିକ୍ଟ ହେଡକ୍ୱାର୍ଟର ଓଡିଶାରେ ଦେଖିବା, ସବୁ ଡିଷ୍ଟ୍ରିକ୍ଟ ହେଡକ୍ୱାର୍ଟରରେ ଗୋଟେ କଲୋନୀ ଥାଏ, ଅଫିସର୍ସ କଲୋନୀ ଥାଏ ନା ପ୍ରାୟ ଅଧିକାଂଶ ଜାଗାରେ।
सर सर
ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ ଜାଗାରେ କିଛି କଲୋନୀ ଡେଭଲପ, କଲୋନୀ ମାନେ ହଉଛି ଯୋଉଠି ବାହାରିଆ ଲୋକ ରହନ୍ତି। I mean to say that colony is one where the other people will be residing, or and in that way, as as India was being conquered or India was being occupied by Britain, India became a colony under Britain, and the colonial master was Britain. ଆମ ଏଇଠି ଯଦି ସ୍କୁଲ କରାଗଲା, ସ୍କୁଲ ର ମାଷ୍ଟର ରହିଲେ ବ୍ରିଟେନ ରେ, that is colony and colonial master. and ଯେତେବେଳେ କଲୋନୀ କିମ୍ବା କଲୋନୀରେ କୌଣସି whatever rules and regulations are being framed or whatever policies were being made, the policies were made for the interest of the colonial master, not for the colony. तो एठी जो इटालिक वर्ड रे लिखा है मु पढ़ी दउची सेटा, if imperialism is what happens to metropolis, metropolis को गले हम urban area को बुझे, then colonialism is what it happened to the colonies. Colonies means the area which is being occupied by a foreign country. India was being occupied by Britain. India became a colony under your Britain, and whatever development will be made in colony, it will be framed by the colonial master, not by the country itself. So in our history, ଆମେ ଯେତେବେଳେ modern history ପଢୁଛୁ, ଯେତେବେଳେ ଆମେ British history ପଢୁଛୁ ଇଣ୍ଡିଆରେ, ବ୍ରିଟିଶ ରୁଲ କଥା ପଢୁଛୁ, ଗୋଟେ ଜିନିଷ କ୍ଲିୟର ଯେ କଲୋନୀ ଯେତେବେଳେ ଇଣ୍ଡିଆ ହେଲା, we became subservient to the British masters and they were having the keys of India. ତାଙ୍କ ହାତରେ ଭାରତର ଚାବିକାଠିଟା ଥିଲା, and whatever rules or regulations were being made or whatever policies were being framed, that will be decided by Britain, not by the people of India. So in a way, colonialism is a modern historical phenomenon, just like your industrial capitalism. ଆମେ ଏଟା ଗୋଟେ ମଡର୍ନ ଫେନୋମେନନ, ଯାହା ଦ୍ୱାରା ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ କଥା ମୁଁ ଓଡିଆରେ କହିଦଉଛି ଯେ ମୁଖ୍ୟତଃ ଆମେ ଯେତେବେଳେ ଦୁର୍ବଳ ଦେଶ, ଦୁର୍ବଳ ମାନେ କୋଉ ହିସାବରେ ଦୁର୍ବଳ, ଆମର ବୁଦ୍ଧିଟା ଫାଷ୍ଟ ଅଫ ଅଲ୍ our intellect was very weak. Second, we don't have the political unity. ଆମର ରାଜନୈତିକ ଇଚ୍ଛା ଶକ୍ତି କିମ୍ବା ଆମ ଭିତରେ ୟୁନିଟି ନଥିଲା. ଥାର୍ଡ କଥା ହଉଛି ସେମାନଙ୍କର ମିଲିଟାରୀ superiority, and for that reason they made colonies. They made they made India as a colony, and the feature of a colony is that it is subservient. It is being controlled by the colonial country or colonial master, and in that case India was being ruled by Britain according to the nature and according to the whims of the British government in Britain, not by Indians. And the basic features of colonialism, you will be knowing, one of the negative feature is the drain of wealth. Drain of wealth, you might be knowing, in Indian case, it has been propounded by Dadabhai Naroji, the grand old man of India, who told that India's wealth was being drained to Britain in a systematic manner. तामाने जो हिसाब रे कौन सी हिसाब रे कोई है बनी official way रे they systematically drain the wealth of India, and that is the most disadvantage, or you can say whatever policies and whatever rules and regulations were being framed, it was not to cater to the interest of the colonial country, rather it meant for the colonial master country. So our India रे जो हिसाब रे imperialism continue कला, first हला दी तीनटा stage अच्छी, गोटे हला monopoly of trade and direct appropriation बोली के सेटा कहा जाए first stage रे ईस्ट इंडिया कंपनी सेटा फॉलो करथिला monopoly of trade तामाने से जा चाहेबो से ही बिकिबो, there is no second alternative. Then second phase, the phase of free trade. Free trade means anybody can come and enter into India from being permitted by the British government. They can come to India and transact trade and commerce. And the third phase was the era of investment, or you can say finance capitalism or finance capital. So these are the phases of your colonialism. And colonialism can be seen in different parts of the world, in Africa and in Asia, in different way. But the colony of Britain, that was India, was one of the classic example in the field of colonialism. Are you following my point, or I am forced to go with speed?
सर
Hello?
କିଛି ନାହିଁ ସାର୍ ଆକ୍ଚୁଆଲି ହଁ ସ୍ପିଡରେ ଯାଉଛୁ ସାର୍ ଆକ୍ଚୁଆଲି
ନା ବୁଝି ହଉଛି ତ?
ହଁ ସାର୍ ବୁଝି ହଉଛି
Yes, sir. ବୁଝି ହଉଛି.
But what I can do, I am forced to do this. Otherwise କିଛି concept ବୁଝି ହେବନି, ନ ଜାଣିବା ଅପେକ୍ଷା କିଛି ଜାଣିଥିବା ଭଲ.
थैंक यू सर थैंक यू
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Next is decolonization. ଆମେ ଦେଖାଯାଉ ଏଥିରୁ କଣ ଫାଷ୍ଟ imperialism, colonialism and decolonization.
इंडिया स्टेट इंडिया फास्ट सेकंड से टिके जस्ट गुड लाइन कहि देबे सर
Hello, someone is asking question.
इंडिया रो जो फास्ट सेकंड स्टेज अछि फास्ट सेकंड स्टेज थर्ड
फास्ट
स्टेज
स्टेज
इंडिया
हला. अच्छा, फास्ट ईस्ट इंडिया कंपनी सेतेबेले पावर ये थिला, in the name of East India Company the government was running. East India Company role थिला, सेटा कोहा गला monopoly of trade and direct appropriation. Monopoly of trade,
इंडिया
तामाने व्यवसाय रे एको चाटिया मनोवृत्ति.
सेटा
तामाने
इंडिया
बिफोर इंडिया रे जेतेबेले ब्रिटिशर्स माने when they first started their rule, the first phase was known as monopoly of trade and direct appropriation. Monopoly of trade and direct appropriation माने ताने सेमाने ही एकचाटिया अधिकार थिला, अलगा कोनोसी देश को नथिला किंबा अलगा कोनोसी कंपनी ब्रिटेन रो ताको लाइसेंस नथिला. एंड डायरेक्ट एप्रोप्रिएशन माने जेते लाभ पाइला निजे निजे खाई गले सेमाने, सेटा होची डायरेक्ट एप्रोप्रिएशन. तापरे आफ्टर 1815 there was the era of free trade. Free trade माने other than your English East India Company, other companies from your England, they came to India and transacted their business. जो थरे कि हमें मेडिसिन कंपनी आरंभ करी गुड़ा कंज्यूमर बेस्ड कंपनीज गुड़ा को आइथिले. तापरे आफ्टर 1857 the era of investment and so called industrialization. the era of investment माने जो देखा जाओ मो जो कथा रेलवे रे कथा कहउतली plantation industry कथा कहउतली in that area or in that sector the capitalists invested their money and got huge return in the way of interest तामाने सुध पाइवा आकार रे से माने जो पैसा टा लगै थिले इंडिया रे तार सुधटा unimaginable amount of interest they got so एटा हला हमर जो ब्रिटिश टाइम रे जो तीनटा फेज थिला monopoly of trade and direct appropriation then free trade then your era of a direct investment or capitalist investment or capitalist process. Let's go to decolonization. We talked about colonization. Achha. I am asking one simple questions. You might be knowing all. Why in India they have started freedom movement? What was the main reason behind India's struggle for freedom? What was the main objective behind the struggle for freedom in India? हमें जो संग्राम आरंभ कर
जेहेतु इम्पेरियलिज्म चालू थरा ताकू ब्रेक करे
काहे कि लोक गुड़ाक ए जो संग्राम रे जोग देले जे हमको इंडिपेंडेंस दरकार बोली
इंपेरियल पावर को ब्रेक करया पई इंपेरियल पावर को ब्रेक करया पई
सबुत्रु बड़ कथा हला अच्छा मु गोटे कथा कहबी हम घर रे पांच जन थिबा हला हाँ राइट दैट इज आल्सो राइट सुनंतु आम गोटे ऑफिस रे काम करूथुआ आम ऑफिस रे समस्तंकर कोऑपरेशन समस्त काम करूथुए किंतु गोटे दीटा लोक जना पड़े जे आम सब कामटा समस्तंकर समान किंतु जना गला जे दी जन लोक सबु ता माने जहा से कंपनी रो किंबा जहा से ऑफिस रो इनकम होची सबु खाई जाउत तापरे कोन हबो हमर भीतर
इक्वालिटी पे सर
हां ना सेटा ठीक कथा मु गोटे कथा पचारु छी जे व्हाट वाज द बेसिक रीजन बिहाइंड इंडिया स्ट्रगल फॉर फ्रीडम गोटे कथा हला when the Indians came to know that they were being exploited by the Britishers economically and in a very systematic way जो दिन जानिले आम भितरे भी एबे आमे जते बेले जानिबा अलगा लोक गोटे अर्थनैतिक शोषण करूची आम भितरे आ आमे चुप पड़ी करी केते दिन रहबा naturally there will be protest and that was the basic reason behind India's nationalism and behind India's freedom struggle also. So my point is that during the colonization period hello mu jo kotha कहली जे what was the basic reason behind India's struggle for freedom when the Indians came to know that they were being economically exploited by a foreign country and through different ways interfering in their lives in a different way they started raising their voice against the Britishers अपन माने देखिथिबे ये देखिथिबो लोगान बोली के गोटे पिक्चर थिला
यस सर
लोगान पिक्चर देखाई थी
यस सर
यस सर
आमिर खान व्हाई आमिर खान प्रोटेस्टेड ताको समस्त गाली दउतिले से पिक्चर रो एक्टर ता मेन एक्टर ता से काहे कि व्हाई ही रेज्ड वॉइस टू ऑफर ए चैलेंज टू द ब्रिटिशर्स जे हम क्रिकेट खेलिबा बोलितली तार कारण हला अर्थनैतिक शोषण से माने जो समय रे से करटा मागुतिले सही समय रे there was drought in that period जेते बेले वर्षा न हेले आम सरकार आमटो पैसा नेबो कि कर नेबो कि ନା ଜଳ କର ନେବ ନା ଜମିରୁ କର ନେବ, କୌଣସି କର ନେବ ନାହିଁ। କିନ୍ତୁ ବ୍ରିଟିଶ ସରକାର, the British government was doing the just opposite. They were forcibly collecting the taxes. এটা হচ্ছে ইকোনমিক এক্সপ্লয়টেশন। ଆଉ ଲୋକମାନେ ଯେତେବେଳେ ଇକୋନୋମିକ ଏକ୍ସପ୍ଲୟଟେସନ କଥା ଜାଣିଲେ, that became the sole cause behind the freedom struggle in India. ବୁଝିଲା? So not only it started in India, in different parts of the world where the Western countries they made colonies, the people started raising poets. ଆଉ ଯେତେବେଳେ after the Second World War, after 1945, after 1945, most of the countries who were having colonies, they started providing freedom to that country or independence to that country, and that country became independent. That process is known as decolonization process. Decolonization process when Second World War came to an end, it was just the talk of before the Second World War and after the Second World War. The colonial countries, ଯେତେ colonial countries ଗୁଡାକ ଥିଲେ ତାଙ୍କ ଉପରେ ଏ ପ୍ରକାର ଚାପ ପଡିଲା, the way they were being humiliated after the Second World War, they forced to provide independence and autonomy to the colonies which were under them, and that process is known as decolonization process. Decolonization process. तामाने colonization रो just opposite, এটা हला decolonization process. Followed my point?
Yes,
Hello?
sir.
सर ये सर
Yes, sir.
এটা হচ্ছে বহুত in a very precise way.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Let's come to the most important part of the your modern world, that is international relations. International relations or international relations in a new is a new buzzword in 20th century. Before 20th century, international relation was known as state relations, interstate relations. That was known as interstate or intercountry relations. But with certain developments, it came to be known as a new discipline that is known as international relation. The relations which developed in between different countries of the world for cooperation and for the other objective, that came to be known as international relation. Just after the end of the First World War, in 1919, during the Paris Peace Conference, the international relation or international cooperation, the objective of international relation or international cooperation, it started. ଆମେ ସେଟାକୁ ନୂଆ ଡିସିପ୍ଲିନ ହିସାବରେ ଆମେ ଦେଖିଲା। ଆମେ ଯିବା ନେସନ ଷ୍ଟେଟ ସିଷ୍ଟମ, ଏଟା ମାନେ ସବୁ ଆମେ ଯାହାହେଲେ ଆଗରୁ imperialism, non-nation state. Let's come to the peak of international relation during 20th century. Let's start with First World War. First World War. Do you know why there was a First World War? There was also the Second World War, but there was no till date Third World War. ଆମେ ଦିଟା war ଦେଖୁଛୁ, Great War, First World War, Second World War, but we are yet to know the Third World War and why there was two consecutive wars and why there was no Third World War. The objective behind is that international relations. Number one, First World War. As you know, why World War started?
सर बफरिंग होची
It's
सर बफरिंग होची आवाज आसुनी सर बोलते
आसुनी हेलो कनेक्शन रे टिके ये थिबो हेलो नेटवर्क प्रॉब्लम थाई पारे नाउ इज इट क्लियर
Yes, sir.
हेलो
Yes, sir.
यस सर यस सर
Yes,
एबे
sir.
सुना गला
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
ना कोन होची योर net connection is not so smooth sometime it is hazy रहुची blink करूची आसुनी ठीक कर सेते लगी समय समय रे ये हे जाउची So,
Yes, sir.
international relation आमे जोटा कहूचु जे modern world रो integral part and parcel जोटा आजी it is the most pivotal part of the 20th and 21st century that international relations emerged as one of the most important discipline after the First World War. When ଆମେ ଯେତେବେଳେ ଆମକୁ ଦେହ ଖରାପ ହୁଏ ସେତେବେଳେ ଡାକ୍ତର କଥା ମନେ ପଡେ କିନ୍ତୁ ତା ଆଗରୁ ଆମକୁ ମନେ ପଡେ ନାହିଁ କିଛି କାରଣ we don't be anything to be very serious but when first world war started the statesmen around the world they thought for what international cooperation international relations to be perfect and in that way international relations became an important part and parcel of the modern world ଆଉ जो हिसाब रे फर्स्ट वर्ल्ड वॉर हैला the first world war took place due to the clash of ego and due to the emergence of militarism ଆମେ जोटा आरंभ हैला first world war रे we came to know that the sole cause is the most vital factor behind the first world war is number one militarism the way there was armed race in one way you can say armed race or militarism second the ego hello quad sound asuchi any from anywhere and then second one is ego in between the different nations in between the different countries and third was the appeasement policy being followed by other countries the appeasement policy being followed by the great countries or great powers like France Britain all these countries and that's why the first world war took place and the horrors of the first world war was beyond anyone's imagination and the soldiers who were fighting in the battlefield of the first world war they never thought that this war come to an end but finally this war come to an end and after that there was a world gathering or world congregation of statesmen and they decided that in what way these great war can be solved so that the destruction can be checked destruction of mankind or destruction of material or destruction of each and everything could be checked that was the decision being taken in the Paris Peace Conference but within a gap of less than 30 years ଆମେ ଏଟା ଆରମ୍ଭ ହେଲା 18 ରେ ସରିଲା 19 ରେ Paris Peace Conference ହେଲା but within a gap of 30 years there was again a great war that was known as your second world war but why there was the second world war as the statesmen failed to realize the main objective behind the occurrence of the first world war. Karan ତାଙ୍କ ଭିତରେ ଯୁଦ୍ଧ ସରିଗଲା ପରେ 1918 ପରେ
ସାର୍ ସାର୍
when
ସାର୍
Paris
କି ଶୁଭୁନି ସାର୍ ଶୁଭୁନି ସାର୍ ଶୁଭୁନି ନେଟୱାର୍କ
network problem ରହୁଛି, what I can do, there is network problem, it is
sir.
not blinking in a perfect way, ସେ ये जो ରହୁଛି ନେଟୱାର୍କ ଲାଇନ ଟା ସବୁବେଳେ ଇଏ ହଉଛି ହେଜି ରହୁଛି, ଜଣା ପଡୁନି। ଆଁ
ସାର୍ ଅପ୍ ଡାଉନ୍ ହଉଛି ଭଏସ ଟା।
ହଁ ହ୍ୟାଲୋ
Yes, sir.
ଭଏସ ଅପ୍ ଡାଉନ୍ ହଉଛି ଆପଣଙ୍କର।
ହଁ ଏଇଟା ନେଟୱାର୍କ ଲାଗି ହଉଛି, ମୋର ଏଇଠି ସବୁ ଠିକ ଅଛି ନା।
ଆଜ୍ଞା।
ହ୍ୟାଲୋ
ହଁ ସାର୍
Hello.
Yes,
ୟେସ୍
sir.
ସାର୍ ଏବେ
Yes,
ଠିକ୍
sir.
ଅଛି ସାର୍।
ହୁଁ
ସାର୍ ଏବେ କ୍ଲିୟର
ଏବେ ଠିକ ଅଛି।
ଆଜ୍ଞା
Yes,
ଆଜ୍ଞା।
sir.
ଏବେ
Start.
ହଁ
ଏବେ
ସାର୍,
ଠିକ୍ ଅଛି ସାର୍
ଆମେ
ଏବେ ଠିକ୍ ଅଛି।
ସେକେଣ୍ଡ ୱାର୍ଲଡ ୱାର କଥା ମୁଁ ଜଷ୍ଟ ଆଇ ୱାଜ ଟକିଂ ଅବାଉଟ ସେକେଣ୍ଡ ୱାର୍ଲଡ ୱାର, ଦ ଫାର୍ଷ୍ଟ ୱାର୍ଲଡ ୱାର କେମ୍ ଟୁ ଏନ୍ ଏଣ୍ଡ, and after the first world war came to an end, when there was the Paris Peace Conference to discuss about the future of the world after the first world war, they failed to realize the original objective of the world conference called your Paris Peace Conference, and they started taking revenge on your what Germany and other countries. Instead, they should focus on other affairs. So what happened, within a gap of 30 years, just not after 30 years, next ଆରମ୍ଭ ହେଇଗଲା ଆମ 1938 ରେ, within a gap of 30 years, there was the occurrence of the Second World War. But after Second World War, we are yet to know about the Third World War. That means the statesmen realized the foolishness or the strategical error in the First World War. That's why Second World War happened. But after Second World War, there is no Third World War till date. But you cannot you cannot speak at a time that you talk of yourself or your family also, you talk of your state also, that there will be a time when there will be obstacles. Yes, the world as a whole was very happy after the destruction caused in the Second World War, and the repair or the economic process was being followed in different countries to meet the new obstacles before them. जो ପ୍ରତିବନ୍ଧକ ଗୁଡାକ ଥିଲା ସେଗୁଡାକ କିନ୍ତୁ the before the end of the Second World War, we came to know about the development and growth of another thing that is called Cold War. Means no war, no peace. Actually, after the Second World War, the world was divided into two groups or two power blocks. That one power block was being headed by your United States, and the other power block was being headed by USSR. And why there was the division of the world into two power blocks was that both were having ideological differences. Both the countries, both the superpowers were having ideological differences, and one group, for example USA, all the your mm, democratic countries and capitalist countries of the world, they supported United States, and those countries which were socialist countries or communist countries, they supported your Soviet Union, and the ideological differences surfaced after or before the end of the First World War, when Soviet Russia was being acclaimed as a communist state, and that was not liked by the Western democratic countries. And from there was conflict was there in between USA and USSR, but it became clear after the Second World War that the world was divided into two power blocks. And what was the consequence, or what was the result? The result was that in different parts of the world, for small petty regions, ଛୋଟିଆ ଛୋଟିଆ କାରଣରୁ ଗୋଟେ ଯୁଦ୍ଧର ଗୋଟେ ବାଦଲ ଘେରି ଆସୁଥିଲା. There was the dominance of cloud in the weather due to the ideological conflict in between USA and USSR. USA and USSR, and there are several instances where there was, or the world was being brought to the brink of another great war, but it was avoided. ସେଥିରେ ପଢିଲେ ଜଣା ପଡିବ କୋଲ୍ଡ ୱାର ଟା ହଉଛି it is an period of neither war nor peace. କାହାକୁ କୁହାଯାଉଛି ଏଟା କୋଲ୍ଡ ୱାର ବୋଲିକିରି? It was the period, it was the tension period in where the world was divided into two power blocks. One is USA, another is USSR, and with their supporting countries, they were fighting each other. Ideologically, they were fighting with each other regarding different or small petty issues. ଛୋଟିଆ ଛୋଟିଆ ଘଟଣାରୁ ସେମାନେ ଇଏ କରୁଥିଲେ, କିନ୍ତୁ ଯେତେବେଳେ when hydrogen bomb was being exploded by US and thereafter USSR, there started an arms race also in the world. So whenever there was some issues relating to ଏମାନେ ଦୁଇ ଜଣ ଏତେ ଚାଲାକ ଥିଲେ ଯେ ନିଜ ଜାଗାରେ ସେମାନେ ଯୁଦ୍ଧ କରୁନଥିଲେ, କିନ୍ତୁ ତାଙ୍କର ସପୋର୍ଟିଂ କଣ୍ଟ୍ରିଜ ମାନଙ୍କ ଜାଗାରେ କୌଣସି ପ୍ରକାରର ଯୁଦ୍ଧର ସମ୍ଭାବନା ଦେଖାଯାଉଥିଲା, କୋଉଥିରେ ଦେଖାଯାଉଥିଲା, ଏବଂ ଛୋଟିଆ ଛୋଟିଆ ଯୁଦ୍ଧ ବି ହେଇଛି, କିନ୍ତୁ ବିଶ୍ୱ the whole world was facing that problem. କେଉଁ ସମୟରେ ଥାର୍ଡ ୱାର୍ଲଡ ୱାର ହେଇଯିବ ବୋଲି ଗୋଟେ ଆଶଙ୍କା ରହୁଥିଲା, କାରଣ ଏମାନେ ଦୁଇ ଜଣଙ୍କ ଭିତରେ ଏତେ କମ୍ପିଟିସନ ଥିଲା. The competition was so intense in between the two superpowers that the people of the world were thinking that at what time there would be third world war, but fortunately there was no third world war, and that cold war came to an end when Soviet Russia collapsed in 1991-92, and thereafter the world came to be known as your unipolar world, being headed by the only superpower, so-called superpower, that is your United States. And in between this, ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ ଜିନିଷ ଅଛି ଯୋଉଥିରେ ପଢିଲେ you can know it, that is ଦିତେନ ବୋଲିକିରି ଅଛି, ତାକୁ ଡିଫରେଣ୍ଟ ୱେରେ ପ୍ରୋନାଉନ୍ସିଏସନ କରାଯାଏ, ଦିତା ବୋଲିକିରି କୁହାଯାଏ, ଆଉ ଦିତେନ ବୋଲିକିରି ବି କୁହାଯାଏ, ଆଉ that is the period when there was, ଏଟା କାହା ଭିତରେ କୁହାଯାଏ, ସାଇନୋ ୟୁଏସ ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ କୁହାଯାଏ ୟୁନାଇଟେଡ ଷ୍ଟେଟ୍ସ ଏଣ୍ଡ ୟୁଏସଏସଆର ଭିତରେ. ଏମାନଙ୍କର ଭିତରେ ଯୋଉ ହସ୍ଟିଲିଟି ଥିଲା, in order to decrease the hostility, there was your Britain in between United States and USSR, then US and China. ସେଥିରେ ନାନା ପ୍ରକାର ଡିପ୍ଲୋମାସି କଥା କୁହାଯାଇଛି, but whatever it may be, the Cold
Sir,
War
hostility
came
कौन?
to an
Sir,
hostility
hostility
माने
hostility माने?
hostility माने तामाने आमे का सागर सपोज आमा और चाइना भितर हॉस्टिलिटी आरंभ होला को जिंस को नेकरी जे अरुणाचल प्रदेश रो गोटे एरिया को नेकरी जोटा चाइना
आज्ञा sir.
चाइना कहूची जे सेटा मोर किंतु इंडिया कहूची सेटा आमर बोली करी सेटा को हॉस्टिलिटी बोली करी कुआ हुए एंड दैट
issue
हॉस्टिलिटी
dispute को जाए.
हाँ hostility in another way it is your dispute हमने
Yes sir.
hostility से different type रो भी था एटा नुहे जे गोटे टाइप रो हॉस्टिलिटी थिबो
आज्ञा
सो व्हाटएवर मे बी
आज्ञा.
your hostilities in order to decrease the tension in between the great powers there was some kind of rapprochement there was some kind of your cessation of hostility ताको कहा जाए दितेन माने cessation of hostilities तामाने टेंशन को परित्याग करिवा किंबा हॉस्टिलिटी को परित्याग करिवाटा कहा जाए डिटेन बोली करी if I will go through it then you can know decrease tension को decrease diffuse केमतिया करा दिवो different methods are being followed by those countries दी जन को भितरे देता कहा जाए सेटा यूएस यूएसएसआर भितरे हो किंबा यूएस आउ यूएसएसआर भितरे हो किंबा चाइना आउ यूएस मध्य रे भी सेटा हो so that is called the chain then the my point is that the world when it was divided into two power blocks just before the end of the second world war and the world continued in that way by avoiding the war till 1991-92 when Soviet Russia was collapsed. After that, the world was being dominated by a singular power, that is your unipolar world. Now we are saying that unipolar world, but that reference is also having a lot of controversy. Say inside a controversy गुड़ाए अच्छी तो आज in today's world or in present world we cannot singularly say that only the powerful country in the world is your United States. There is competition from your China and there are emerging countries like India also. They are putting a check to the unipolar world. Are you following my point or are getting bored? Already
sir.
I have
Yes,
taken
sir.
you 10 minutes. 10 मिनिट समय अधिका हो गलानी तथापि भी हमर दीटा एटा हला कोल्ड वॉर से भितरे अछि न्यूक्लियर आर्म्स रेस एफर्ट्स टू कंट्रोल आ गोटे अछि नॉन अलाइन मूवमेंट मो किछि कहि दउछि आपरे नॉन अलाइन मूवमेंट तमा जोटा तमा को गोष्ठी निरपेक्ष आंदोलन non aligned movement when the world was divided into two power blocks one was headed by the democratic and your capitalist bloc called your USA out communist countries being headed by your USSR. So after 1945 when the countries like India and others got independence ଯେତେବେଳେ ସେମାନେ ସ୍ୱାଧୀନତା ପାଇଲେ ସେହି ସମୟରେ ସେମାନେ ଗୋଟେ
मेरे को तो
ଭୀଷଣ
प्रश्न
ହେଲା
सर यूएसए तो डेमोक्रेटिक है यूएसएसआर था सर
एक्चुअली ଆମେ ଯେତେବେଳେ ଦେଖୁଛୁ ୟୁଏସଏ ରେ ତ ଡେମୋକ୍ରେଟିକ କ୍ୟାପିଟାଲିଷ୍ଟ ସେଇଟା ଅଲଗା କିନ୍ତୁ 1917 ରେ
सर मो
1917 ରେ
प्रश्न होला
ହଁ
सर
हेलो
सर यूएसए टा हमर डेमोक्रेटिक यूएसएसआर टा कौन सर
यूएसएसआर टा वर्तमान कथा मु कहूनी बिफोर 1991 कहूची सेटा
यस सर आज्ञा आज्ञा
कम्युनिस्ट थिला
आज्ञा आज्ञा सर कम्युनिस्ट सर
कम्युनिस्ट
व्हाट
कम्युनिस्ट सोशलिस्ट कम्युनिस्ट और
थैंक यू सर
साइंटिफिक सोशलिज्म बोलिक आमे कहबा मोस्टली वी नो that was a communist
ଆଜ୍ଞା
country किंतु 92 ପରେ ଯେତେ ଗୁଡାକ ଷ୍ଟେଟ ଭାଙ୍ଗି ଗଲେ ତାଙ୍କ ଯୋଉ ୟୁଏସଏସଆର ଅଣ୍ଡର ରେ ଥିଲେ ପ୍ରାୟ ସମସ୍ତେ ଦେ ଆର୍ either democratic or in between that capitalist democratic and no one is a your communist country except one or something like that. So we are talking of non-aligned movement. Non-aligned movement means just I was giving your picture clear that 1945 after 1945 those countries which became independent they never want to go to the side of either USA or USSR. ସେମାନେ ଦୁଇ ଜଣଙ୍କ ପାଖରୁ କାହା ପାଖକୁ ଗଲେନି USA ଆଉ USSR rather they remain aloof. ସେମାନେ ଏମାନଙ୍କ କହିବା କଥା ହେଲା ଯୋଉଟା କି ଇଣ୍ଡିଆ ବି ଥିଲା ସେ ଭିତରେ ଯେ ଆମେ why we should go to the side of USA, why we should go to the side of USSR. ଯା ପକ୍ଷରେ ଗଲେ ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ ଅପର ପକ୍ଷ ଗୋଟେ ଏନିମି ହେଇଯିବ ତାର. So they form a group called non-aligned group. ଗୋଷ୍ଠୀ ନିରପେକ୍ଷ ଆନ୍ଦୋଳନ ବୋଲିକିରି କୁହାଯାଏ ଆଉ ଗୋଷ୍ଠୀ ନିରପେକ୍ଷ ସମ୍ମିଳନୀ ମାନେ ଆରମ୍ଭ କଲେ. Their objective was world peace, cooperation among different countries of the world, cooperation among the non-aligned countries of the world. If a non-aligned country will be attacked by other countries, the other country will provide help to each other. ये सब जिनस लगे आरंभ है किंतु gradually by 1990 it also lost its relevance. तार भी जते जो ये थिला तार relevance ता एटा lose कला non-aligned movement. Now non-aligned movement or non-aligned group is just a group in the terms of your cooperation and coordination and nothing beyond that. बाकी जोटा दीटा रहिला तीनटा गोटे हला रिवोल्यूशन ब्लॉक 7 नेक्स्ट हला वायलेंस रिप्रेशन एंड डिलेमास ऑफ डेवलपमेंट. परहैप्स एथरे जो रिवोल्यूशन रे अछि दीटा रिवोल्यूशन कथा कुआ आइछि. गोटे हला फर्स्ट पॉलिटिकल रिवोल्यूशन रे जाउछि. गोटे हला
सर आज
फ्रेंच
छाड़ कि
ना एटा आमे मु कंक्लूडिंग पार्ट को आसुछि आउ तो आई विल नॉट बी गेटिंग टाइम टू योर कंप्लीट इट. मु कहि दउछि ऑलरेडी आमे जो जिंस जानिछु एथरे क्वेश्चन आसे फ्रेंच रिवोल्यूशन ऊपर एंड बिफोर रीडिंग फ्रेंच रिवोल्यूशन फ्रॉम दिस बुकलेट प्लीज गो थ्रू अदर बुक्स. जो बही इच्छा लागले से बही पढ़ा जाओ. सेथरे फ्रेंच रिवोल्यूशन ता भले करी पढ़िले गोटे क्वेश्चन गोटे नियाती आसे जोटा कि हमें पॉलिटिकल रिवोल्यूशन बोली करी कहूछु. नेक्स्ट go through second is one is that of your French Revolution and another is your political revolution of Russia. USSR communist तमाने socialist revolution. ये दीटा revolution जो गोटे परीक्षा रे नियाती आसे आउ जोटा you can directly just don't go into the details from this booklet. Rather you go and consult other books, read that books. Then after that you can jot down some points from here. Then there are other things like knowledge revolution. It will not be a problem. Printing and informatics, starting from the invention of printing to your internet, that will not be a problem for you. Education ता को समय रे कोटा थिला तापरे violence को वर्ल्ड रे केमतिया violence होची. Violence रो what methods are being followed by the countries to repress it. Then finally jota ଅଛି dilemmas of development. तामाने why we are confused in order to formulate, in order to face development, where we are in confusion. That is your dilemmas of development. So are you feeling bored?
ସାର୍ ଆପଣ
Anything?
କଣ୍ଟାକ୍ଟ
Sir,
ନମ୍ବର
no,
ଟା
no, no.
ଦେଇଥାନ୍ତି ଯାହା ଡାଉଟ୍
No, sir.
ପଚାରିବୁ ସାର୍।
अच्छा, प्लीज नोट डाउन ऑल। मो फोन नंबर है
Yes, sir.
891
891 sir. Yes, sir.
7255
7255 sir.
7255
Yes, sir.
318। ଆଉ जोटा व्हाट्सएप पे जदि लिखिए
Sir.
94376
4376
38860। अच्छा, one request to
Sir,
you
contact
all,
କରିବୁ sir.
one request, that is ଯେତେବେଳେ ଫୋନ କଲେ ସାର୍ ମତେ ଫୋନ ରେ ରିପ୍ଲାଏ ଦେଲେନି ବୋଲି ସେ ଜିନିଷ ଭାବିବା କଥା ନୁହଁ। ସେକେଣ୍ଡ କଥା ହଉଛି
ଆଜ୍ଞା
ମୁଁ
ସାର୍।
ସମୟ ପାଇଲେ ଯେତେବେଳେ ମିସ୍ କଲ୍ ଥାଏ ପ୍ରାୟ ଗୋଟେ ଦିନରେ ହେଲେ ମୁଁ ଗୋଟେ ଦିନରେ ଫୋନ କରେ, ନହେଲେ ନେକ୍ସଟ ଦିନ ଫୋନ କରେ, କିନ୍ତୁ ମିସ୍ କଲ୍ ଗୁଡା
ଆଜ୍ଞା ସାର୍।
ଯେତେ ଥାଏ ମୁଁ ସବୁ ଆଟେଣ୍ଡ କରେ। ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ କଥା, ହ୍ୱାଟ୍ସଆପ ରେ ଲେଖିଲେ ତାର ସମୟ ଦେଖିବି ଦିନେ ଦି ଦିନ ଭିତରେ ଆଇ ୱିଲ୍ ଡେଫିନାଇଟଲି ପ୍ରୋଭାଇଡ ୟୁ ରିପ୍ଲାଏ। कारण
ଆଜ୍ଞା
मोर
ସାର୍।
बेसिक ऑब्जेक्टिव होउची let those who are reading, those who are in academics do better for them, do better for the country, then only we
Yes, sir.
will prosper.
Thank you, sir.
So I hope you anticipate all these things. Thanking you
Yes, sir.
very much for
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
these
sir.
three
Thank you
six
so much.
classes. Thank you very much. Thanking you all.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank,
Thank you,
Thank you,
sir.
sir.
thank you.
नमस्कार
Thank
sir.
you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
नमस्ते सर।
Thank you,
नमस्ते।
sir.
Thank you very much.
जय
Thank you
जय
all.
हिंद।
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
ସାର୍ ପୂର୍ବରୁ କିଏ କୋଉ କ୍ଲାସ୍ ଗୁଡ଼ା କରୁଛନ୍ତି ଟିକେ ସର୍ଟ ନୋଟ୍ ଟା ପଠେଇବେ କି? ହ୍ୟାଲୋ। କାଟି ସାରିଲେଣି।